Hey everybody, C-Note here, and welcome to the C-Note Audio Extravaganza. This is your host, Mr. Christian Rivera, bringing you the show that is like an old white politician. Very touching. Today I wanted to talk about valuing people too much, which is kind of an extension of like caring too much about what people think about you and family and friends and things like that. It's going to be a good time, so let's do this.
Drums, please.
Hey, welcome to the show. Christian Rivera here. Just talking about things and life and stuff and things. Today I am coming to you from my desktop. This is weird. It's a strange moment in time because I've decided to record on my desktop in advance instead of just using Anchor. So I'm kind of mixing the two platforms in a way. I've decided to do this at home on a desk and record in advance because, you know, Anchor is kind of like a very momentary thing, but Anchor has a lot of really great tools for podcasting. So I want to use my setup at home, which I'm having some latency issues, so I can't hear myself talk at the moment. So hopefully it's loud enough, but I'm looking at the audio levels and everything seems okay. So hopefully that's fine. We'll see how that goes. And it's a very different situation. It's very formal. I'm sitting here. I'm at a desk. I just finished eating some food, and it's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not holding my phone or talking into it. I don't know what to do with my hands. It's a bit strange. But basically my plan here is to post... I'm planning to post 5 days a week, as I was doing before. But now I don't have a long commute in the morning, and to take time every day to do this seems like it could be, I don't know, a little bit much. I want to start thinking about doing things in bulk a little bit more and thinking ahead so I can do more things. I've got my newsletter, hi, my name is Christian.com. You can sign up for it there. And I'm basically doing podcasts every day, and then I'm doing supplemental articles to those podcasts. And I eventually want to get to a point where I can do like affiliate links and sponsors and things like that, because, you know, daddy's got to pay the bills. But still keep it like, you know, fun and podcasty, you know, and not really ruin the cadence of Anchor or anything like that. So, well, I'm going to test it out, see how people like it, see if people are listening to it, see if it's something that's still worth doing, and what's the nice mix of it. So I record everything on my desktop, and basically I'm going to record like 5 episodes today. So I'm going to record everything in a row, and then I'm going to post everything through Clipper on the Anchor.fm website. And apparently you can post your stuff. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to put my intro and outro and all that fun stuff. I'm going to post it through Clipper, and then I'll be able to essentially they have scheduling, so I can schedule the post for Monday morning, which is when you'll be hearing this, and then I can have subsequent posts for later in the week. So that way when I want to do like Anchor stuff in the moment, or I can focus more on doing more Anchor stuff in the moment, not necessarily just doing the podcast. I like Anchor as a means to get the podcast distributed, but you know, it's good audio quality. The audio quality was fine before too, so that's really not a problem. But I can add an outro, I can add some music underneath me talking if I want to, which is something you can do in Anchor already, but I can add my own if I want to. I've got tracks that I could do that with if I'd like, so maybe I'll experiment with that too and see how that works and see how that goes. So today I've got listed here as my topic is valuing people too much. And what I mean by that is really valuing not just their opinions, but what they want versus what you want in life. And it's really kind of going with this theme of a lot of the things that I talk about, meaning that a lot of people just put too much stock in what their mom wants for them, or what their dad wants for them, or what their teacher wants for them. And I feel like I'm saying more of the same thing, but this is like, it's a pretty important topic. You know, sometimes if you value too much, you value what they think of you. You know, if you value, let's take it from, sorry, there's going to be noises. I have to plug in my laptop, so I'm doing a thing. I could pause, but why would? That's not very fun. You're not a part of the real life thing at that point. So stuff's flying everywhere. Good times. I also don't have a pop filter, so hopefully the pops are not too loud. Pop, 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 pop. So really, one of the main things I wanted to talk about in reference to valuing people too much is is not worrying too much about likes and follows and who's listening, who isn't listening, who's buying, who's not buying, whatever. Because once you start thinking too much about the likes or the hearts or whatever, you stop thinking about what your mission is. You stop thinking about why you're doing what you're doing. And really, that's ultimately what I want to get at, is for you to continue to love the process and love what you're doing and not just give in to people. You don't want to have to function by the needs of other people. You don't, if the only way you can function is by knowing that someone's listening or knowing that someone really loves what you're doing, and you're getting that, you're doing it for the sake of that feedback every time, then maybe that's not the best. I think it's kind of the other way around. So you fall in love what it is that you want to do, and therefore by sheerly loving it, you get a better sense of showing people what it is that you are, who you are, and they can fall in love with your content, as opposed to trying to, people are aware when you're trying too hard. People are very much aware when you're putting too much on. You're trying too hard to be too uppity. For me, and it really depends on if that's part of your personality or it isn't. And I think it's easy for people to tell when you're just following a guideline, as opposed to being genuine and trying to actually help someone or provide value for people. There's a very kind of creepy vibe that comes off when salespeople in particular are just following tactics. You're not really sure what it is, or I should say, with enough experience, you get to know that they're just trying to sell you stuff right away. They're not interested in who you are or how you're doing or what you're up to. You can tell just in their tone of their voice or the way that they initially approached you that they are going to pitch you something very soon. And that becomes, there's a slightly creepy feeling. That's the way that I describe it, at least. For me, it feels creepy. It feels really creepy for somebody to just stop and say, or to come at you with clear intention of personal gain. A lot of salesmen do it, real estate agents, people who are just trying to, traditionally just try to sell you stuff for commissions and things like that. It comes off as creepy because you can feel their personal intent. You can feel that they are not trying to provide you value, they're trying to get their commission. And that's a very obvious thing that you can tell when you're following tactics, when you're not being a genuine person. It doesn't mean that you can't sell things. You can be a genuine person and still sell things because, hey, we're trying to make money here. We're trying to sell people on experiences or try to sell them on stuff. And I'm just saying that the old tactics of trying to convince someone that they should have this thing because, statistics or whatever doesn't really help. You have to actually listen to someone, find out what their needs are, and then see if the product that you're selling will actually satiate that need and not necessarily just try to sell it for what it is. Anyway, I've kind of tangented a little bit, but really valuing people too much is valuing what is just valuing the likes and shares and the need for approval, essentially. If you really love what you're doing, then you don't need the approval. It's nice. It's great. I love when people say your podcast is great. I love when people like and share things. That's pretty cool. but I ultimately don't.
If you've been dying to start that podcast about doves, or about your favorite jacket, or about a long-lost love, or a murder mystery about a cat who murdered everybody, you can start it now on Spotify for podcasters. I've been on Anchor for a long time, and now it is officially Spotify for podcasters, and it has been a platform that has been growing for forever. And I love it, and I still use it to this day, and it has hosted this podcast for 500 plus episodes now. So I highly recommend it. It is free to use. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. I'm literally on my bed recording on my, the phone is on the bed, and I'm just talking, and it's not that complicated. And then you can distribute your podcast on Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. So video podcasts are available too if you want to show your pretty face and have people see you. You can do all that too. So just do it. It's totally free, no catch. Give it a try. Spotify for podcasters. Let's go.
Do it for that. I do it because I want to bring people value. I want to be able to share my knowledge and what I've been through and hopefully help someone with that. It also makes me feel good, so I am doing it for me in a lot of ways, and I want to find ways to monetize this and make it something that people will pay for or a sponsor will pay for in some way. But I also don't want to do it in a way that is gross. Like Facebook, for example, was a thing that is very, very clear that it was going to be a multi-billion-dollar massive thing. And if Mark Zuckerberg immediately jumped into it with ads and just threw it at people before actually building an audience, it would have been not smart at all. They would have gone the way of MySpace, and that would make it a very short-lived thing. Not only did it need time to marinate, it needed time to actually think about what those ads would look like in this platform and how to really tailor the algorithm to properly target people. But it needed to build an audience, needed to get people behind the idea first, and be smart about it. So I think that same model applies to personal brands and really anyone that's trying to do anything interesting. You got to build an audience people first. You got to get people to like you, and if people like you, then they'll be on board with whatever it is you have to present to them. You don't want to make it gross and block off content for the means of making them pay for something. There are plenty of people who, there was this guy, I can't remember the name. It was I don't think mentioning the name would be a good idea anyway, but it was this guy on YouTube who was doing Photoshop tutorials, and I followed him for a little while, and he was doing some good tutorials, and it was real good time. But he started to get to the point where you could tell that he was thinking about the money too much. He was trying to, he wasn't enjoying the process. He wasn't enjoying what he was doing, and he was trying to change it up every week. He was trying to find a way for people to buy things, and then he would start doing paywall stuff, and that's just, it's not smart. I think more people are expecting more free content these days because you can get free content everywhere. You can get tutorials everywhere. You can get whatever everywhere. So you have to be really smart about what it is that you're providing to people. And anyway, that it's all a tangent. It's all a subplot to this valuing people too much thing. Valuing people too much in the sense of your parents and friends and teachers, and valuing what they care about you. Sure, it's nice to know that people do care about you, but all the nuances of thinking about what it is that they appreciate in you doesn't necessarily matter. That shouldn't be a thing that guides you. It shouldn't be something that pushes you in one direction or the other. It shouldn't be a thing that motivates you or demotivates you. What people think of you is not actually relevant. And valuing their opinion too much, valuing the likes, valuing their approval just doesn't get you to a good place. It's not going to get you to a place that feels genuine, because you're always going to be trying to tailor your content, the way that you're approaching conversations or your work, to try to just make them happy. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to do things that make you happy. If you crowdsource something, if you crowdsource like the name of something, you ultimately have to pick the name that you want. You don't have to pick the most popularly used one. You don't have to pick the one that everyone liked. You don't have to pick the one that the community is after. You pick the one that you feel is the best for your business, for your ideas, for your satisfaction. Ultimately, it's up to you. It's your thing. So you have to make those decisions, and you have to live with that and keep going. So that's it. It's about 15 minutes, which is what these podcasts are going to be. I'm just going to do like 15-minute things. So yeah, don't value too much. Don't value people too much. Don't value people's opinions too much. It's just unnecessary. It stops you. It'll get in your way, and you really have to look at yourself first. And there's themes in this stuff, so it's going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but I'm just finding new ways to frame this as best as I can. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time. Hey everybody, I want to thank you guys for listening to the Seed Audio Extravaganza. If you would like to go to HiMyNameIsChristian.com, you can sign up for my newsletter, where you'll get the written version of the podcast, and follow me on Rival My Design on all the social channels and all that good stuff. We can chat and have ourselves a jolly good time wherever it is that I am. So I really appreciate it. And thank you guys. I hope you have a good one.